Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're tackling something you see constantly but maybe don't think too much about.
The dollar sign.
That.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to explore its history, where it came from, and, well, all the surprising ways it's used.
Right. We've looked into historical documents, different theories, even how it pops up in coding.
The goal is, to give you those aha moments without getting too bogged down.
It's a symbol everyone recognizes, probably thinks of money straight away.
Sure, finance is key.
But its story goes way beyond that, right into the digital age.
So the big question is, how did this little mark, this squiggle, become so, well, ubiquitous?
And what does its journey tell us? Let's dive in.
Okay, origins. The sources point to it showing up in, like, the 1770s business letters and stuff,
Yeah, mainly linked to the Spanish-American peso.
which people also call the Spanish dollar, or piece of 8.
That's the one. It was common currency in Spanish America, the early U.S., even Britain.
And that Spanish coin was actually the model for the U.S. dollar, wasn't it? It was, yeah. The Coinage Act of 1792 specifically based the U.S. dollar on it.
But here's a kicker, the first U.S. dollar coins, they didn't have the sign on them.
Nope. It took some time to catch on in print here.
The first printed example is maybe, the 1790s? Archibald Binney, a printer?
That's the claim, yeah. Philadelphia printer.
And later, I saw something about an 1869 banknote.
Oh, yeah, the $1 United States note. It had this interesting overlapping UNS.
Kind of like a monogram.
Sort of. And right next to it, a tiny double-stroke dollar sign. Almost like we were trying things out.
Okay, so how did we get the symbol? The main theory seems pretty logical.
You mean the IPS connection?
Yeah, the abbreviation for pesos, people writing it quickly.
Exactly. The idea is the IPS started getting written sort of over the P.
And it's just morphed over time.
Gradually becoming what we recognize. There's even a letter from 1778.
Oliver Pollock.
That's him, an Irish trader. His IPS looks remarkably like an early dollar sign.
And get this, Portuguese documents from 1775.
Even earlier.
Yeah, they apparently already showed the two-stroke version being used commonly.
Wow. So that version was around before the U.S. even had its own dollar.
It really makes you think about how these things just emerge from practical use, doesn't it?
Definitely. Commerce drives notation. But, like with any old symbol, there are other ideas floating around.
Ah, the alternative theories. Like the Pillars of Hercules one. That sounds cool.
It does. It connects the sign to the design on those Spanish pieces of 8.
The coins had pillars on them.
Yeah, representing the Strait of Gibraltar, often shown with a ribbon kind of wrapped around them in an S shape.
Oh, I can picture that. The two strokes are the pillars, and the S is the ribbon.
That's the hypothesis. It's visually quite compelling.
And didn't the Chinese have a name for Spanish dollars related to that?
They did, yeah. Shengzu, meaning double pillar, which is pretty suggestive,
It really is. Is there anything else linked to the coins?
Well, related to that, there's a focus on the Potosi Mint in Bolivia.
Huge silver source back then, right?
Massive. Their mint mark was often PTSI, all superimposed.
Like mashed together.
Kinda. And some researchers think the core of that mark looks like a single-stroke dollar sign.
So PS, pillars, Potosi mint mark. Quite a few contenders from the Spanish connection.
But wait, there's more.
Of course there is. A German link. How does that fit?
It comes down to the word dollar itself.
Right, not originally English.
No, it comes via the Dutch Dalder from the German Joachimstaler, often just called Tuller.
Another big silver coin in Europe.
Exactly. So one theory is the sign came from an S superimposed on an I, or maybe a J.
Representing the taller.
Potentially.
Yeah.
There's a symbol like that in a merchant's accounting book from 1686.
Wow, that's quite early.
And another, less common idea, links it to a snake and cross emblems sometimes seen on dollars.
Man, this symbol has a complicated family tree.
It certainly seems that way. But not all the branches are considered equally strong today.
Yeah, you mentioned some theories are less likely now. Debunked, maybe?
Well, debunked is strong, but less favored, definitely. Like the idea that Robert Morris specifically adopted the two-stroke sign in 1778.
An American revolutionary figure.
Right. Alton James proposed that in 1937. But the evidence from the period isn't really there to back it up firmly.
What about that Greek letter idea? Psi and S.
That was H.M. Larson in 1939. It hasn't really gained much traction either. It seems a bit convoluted compared to the Eve's theory.
Okay. And the one that feels kind of intuitive, the U over S for United States?
Ah, yes, the monogram theory. You can see why people suggest it.
It looks plausible, right? A narrow U on an S.
Visually, sure.
Yeah.
And it was mentioned back in the 1870s, even Ayn Rand used it in Atlas Shrugged.
She did, huh?
Yeah, she suggested it was used on U.S. mint money bags. But historically,
The timing's off again?
pretty much.
Yeah.
The dollar sign symbol seems to predate the U.S. explanation gaining any real currency, so to speak.
Gotcha. Then there were those darker connections mentioned in the sources.
Right. The potential link to branding practices in Spanish territories.
For enslaved people.
Yes. Tatiana Sages and Jake Frederick noted a symbol like a one-bar dollar sign was sometimes used. They suggest a possible link to esclavo, meaning slave, and clavo, meaning nail.
That's sobering.
It is. And there's also a Portuguese theory linking the cifrão's bars to the Pillars of Hercules again, but the S to Tariq ibn Ziyad's conquest route in 711.
Okay, those are definitely out there.
They bring up important history, but compared to the F's evidence and the coin imagery, they're generally seen as less likely origins for the symbol itself.
Right. So focusing back on the main symbol, lots of currencies use it today, not just the U.S.
Oh, absolutely. It's the go-to symbol for most currencies named dollar and many named peso.
Except the Philippines. They have their own, right?
They do, the euro symbol. Good point.
And to avoid confusion, especially internationally.
You often see prefixes, yeah.
Yeah.
USE, CAA, AU, or sometimes suffixes like can.
But for really clear professional stuff,
It's the ISO 4217 codes, USD, MXN, AUD, CAD, etc. No ambiguity there.
makes sense. And looking back, it was used for currencies that aren't even around anymore.
Loads of them. The Brazilian Cruzeiro had variations like euro. The Ethiopian birr used A for a while.
Macanese Pataka, Nicaraguan Cordoba, Samoan Tala.
Pungan Palanga, the old Malayan dollar, Malaysian ringgit used it. Even the South Vietnamese dong, it really got around.
It's like the symbol itself became a global standard for a certain type of currency unit.
In many ways, yes. Now, how about writing it? You usually put it before the number, right?
Yeah.
Like $10?
Yeah, that feels normal to me.
That's the standard in the U.S., Mexico, Australia, English-speaking Canada, lots of places.
But not everywhere.
Interestingly, no. In French-speaking Canada, it often comes after.
Right.
$10.
Huh, like percentages.
Kinda, yeah. And the cent sign, that almost always comes after, like $5.
Little regional quirks. Now, you mentioned the Portuguese name for the two-stroke version earlier, the cifrão.
Yes, the cifrão. That one has a really unique history in the Portuguese-speaking world.
It wasn't just for currency identification?
Not originally, no. In Portugal and Brazil, for their old currency, the real, it was used as a thousand separator.
1,000 separator? Like a comma?
Exactly like a comma in function. So you might see $123,500 Rs, meaning 123,500 races.
That's wild, and that dates back pretty far.
At least to 1775, based on documents.
Wow, but then its job changed.
It did. In 1911, Portugal switched to the escudo, and the cifrão became the decimal separator.
So $123.50 meant 123 and a half escudos.
Precisely. 123.50. They used that right up until they adopted the euro in 2002.
Fascinating. Has anyone kept using it that way?
Cape Verde has. They introduced their escudo in 1914, also a former Portuguese colony, and they still use the cifrão as the decimal separator today.
Still, that's commitment.
It is. And other former colonies like East Timor, Angola, Mozambique used it that way for their escudos for a time, too.
Even Brazil kept a link after they switched currencies.
Well, when they went to the Cruzeiro in 1942, they officially used a comma for decimals, writing quayar, but the symbol itself was often still drawn with two strokes. Old habits, perhaps.
In Vietnam, too, using it as a separator.
South Vietnam, yeah, before 1975. They used the single-stroke dollar sign to separate the main unit, the dong, from the subunit, the Q. So, $750 meant 7 dong and 50 so.
It's just incredible how one symbol takes on these different jobs. So, digitally, one stroke versus two strokes. Is there a difference?
Officially, in the computer world, not really. Unicode, the standard for text characters, basically says they're the same character.
Just different looks, like fonts.
Exactly. They call them allographs. Just typeface variations of the single code point U plus 00024.
So my computer doesn't technically know if I want one bar or two.
Not inherently from the basic character code, no. Some fonts might default to one, some to the other. Fonts like Baskerville or Garamond often show the 2-bar version for U plus 00024.
Was there ever a push to separate them for the cifrão?
There was. Formal requests were made to give the cifrão its own Unicode spot, but it hasn't happened.
So people just use the single gar often.
Frequently, yeah, especially digitally, just because it's easier, the font support isn't there. Which is why, again,
Use the ISO codes for clarity.
Exactly. USD, PTE for the old escudo,
Yeah.
CVE for Cape Verde. Avoids all confusion.
Right. Okay, shifting gears completely now. Computers. The dollar sign is all over programming.
Oh, massively. Because it was on early American keyboards and in basic character sets.
Yeah.
Programmers just grabbed it.
Found uses for it.
Found tons of uses for it. It was readily available and visually distinct.
I was amazed looking at the list and the sources. Basic, PHP, Perl, Ruby, shell scripts.
JavaScript, C#, Scala. The list goes on. Its roles are incredibly varied.
Like what does it do in code?
All sorts.
Yeah.
In early BASIC, it often marked a variable as holding text, a string.
Okay, simple enough.
In PHP or Perl, it typically goes before a variable name, like my variable.
Just identifies it as a variable.
Pretty much. In Unix shells and languages like Ruby or Perl again, it can mean evaluate this or get the value of.
More complex.
Yeah. In some assembly languages, it denotes hexadecimal numbers. In text, the typesetting language, it delimits math mode.
Math mode, okay.
Fortran used it, PLM. Even modern languages like Kotlin find uses for it, often in string interpolation. It's just incredibly versatile for programmers.
And outside of the code itself, operating systems.
Applications.
Yep. Older systems like CPM used it to signal the end of text for certain functions.
Like a stop sign.
Kinda. In Windows networking, putting a dollar at the end of a share name hides it from casual browsing.
Oh, that's sneaky.
Useful sometimes. It's a separator in LDAP directory paths. Had specific meanings in old systems like UNIVAC and RSCOS.
And Excel, I know it's important there.
Crucial
Yeah.
for absolute cell references. If you write $1 in a formula.
That cell reference won't change if you copy the formula.
Exactly. The dollar signs lock the column A and the row 1. Indispensable for spreadsheets.
Wow. Library records, too.
A subfield delimiter, yeah. And in regular expressions, powerful pattern matching tools.
Used in programming and text editors.
Right. The dollar sign usually means match the end of the line or end of the string. Another very specific, very useful job. It's like this symbol just keeps reinventing itself for the digital age.
It really does. But its uses aren't all technical or financial.
Ah, the other stuff. Like using it playfully.
Or critically. Replacing an S to imply greed or excessive commercialism.
Like Microsoft or Dinny. Stuff like that.
Exactly. Or sometimes to suggest Americanization, like Makey for Sky TV. It carries that capitalist connotation.
And artists' names.
Yeah, stylized names like AAP, Rocky, Kiha, Taidala, Chine. It adds a certain edge or bling factor.
Even just words like euro.
Right, using currency symbols creatively.
Okay.
Ambrose Bierce even did it satirically way back in 1872.
And Scrabble. I thought that was funny.
It's specific notation, yeah. A dollar sign after a word in North American lists means...
It's valid there, but not in the British lists.
That's the one. A little inside baseball for Scrabble players.
Okay, this next one blew my mind. Nuclear reactors.
I know, right? It's used as a unit of reactivity. Seriously.
How does that even work?
Well, $0, dollars, represents slow criticality, the point where the chain reaction is self-sustaining but stable.
Okay.
But $1, 11.1, signifies prompt criticality.
Which sounds bad.
It's a threshold you really don't want to cross unintentionally. The reaction can escalate very quickly beyond that point. It's a measure of how close you are to that dangerous state.
Wow. From pesos to prompt criticality, that's quite a range.
And one final oddity. It was briefly used in the Turkmen Latin alphabet.
For what?
In the 90s, as a way to write the Cyrillic letter A, the she sound. Didn't last long, but still.
That is deeply random.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Just shows how symbols can be grabbed for almost any purpose.
So recapping this whole journey, it's pretty incredible.
It really is. From likely origins in, practical shorthand like chiefust or symbolic imagery like the Pillars of Hercules.
To becoming this globally recognized mark for money.
Then developing unique regional uses like the cifrão as a decimal point.
And finally finding this whole second life in computing and even nuclear physics.
It's packed with surprising turns. You think you know it, but there's so much more.
The longevity of some theories, the way it adapted regionally, the jump into code. It's fascinating stuff.
Absolutely. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it?
About what?
Well, if the dollar sign has this rich, complex story, what about other symbols we see every day, like the ampersand or the @ symbol?
Do they have similarly winding histories?
Probably. And what does this constant evolution and repurposing of a simple glyph like dollar tell us about, human communication itself?
And how symbols gain and change meaning over time.
Exactly. The enduring power of a simple mark. Definitely something to think about.
Indeed it is. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the dollar sign.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next exploration.